Hello and welcome to my lecture series for Control System 1. And this course is designed for 5th semester BTech Electrical Engineering students. Myself, Shumon Ghosh, Assistant Professor from Department of Electrical Engineering, Guru Nanak Institute of Technology, Kolkata. This particular PPT is designed for lecture 11 and lecture 12. And today is our 12th lecture. So these are the contents of lecture 11 and lecture 12. In lecture 11, we already discussed time response analysis of a control system, what is transient and steady state response, what is type and order of a system, how we can find or how we can calculate the type and the order of a system. Next, step ramp impulse response of a standard first order system, and some related workout problems was there. Now in this particular session we will discuss on step response of a standard second order system, transient response specifications of a standard second order system, steady state error and error constants, and some related workout problems. So before going to move our today's topic, let us take a quick recap. So what is transient response and what is steady state response? Suppose this is our total response of a time response of a system. Now from 0 to steady state, 0 to constant value. So this region is our transient state, and when the output response is constant, from that region it is called steady state. These are some standard test signals which I already discussed, that is step signal, ramp signal, parabolic signal, impulse signal. What is type and order of the system? Total number of poles present in the system is called order, and total number of poles present in the origin is called type. Now time response of a standard first order system was there, and one example was there. So from this we will start our today's lecture, that is step response of a standard second order system. Here this is our standard second order system. Now why it is called second order? Now if we see this forward path transfer function Gs is equal to omega n square divided by s into s plus 2 zeta omega n, then we can see the highest power of s is s square, or total number of poles present in the system is 2. That's why it is called second order system. Now what will be the value of the closed loop transfer function of a standard second order system? So this is our closed loop transfer function after applying the formula Gs is equal to Cs by Rs is equal to Gs by 1 plus Gs into Hs, where Gs is equal to omega n square divided by s into s plus 2 zeta omega n, and Hs is equal to 1. Now what is omega n? Omega n is the natural frequency. Now what is zeta? Zeta is the damping ratio. And what is omega d? Now omega d is the damped natural frequency. The formula of omega d is omega n root under of 1 minus zeta square, So that is our damped natural frequency. Now what is damping factor alpha? Damping factor alpha is the multiplication of damping ratio to the natural frequency. So that's our damping factor. So here we want to calculate the step response of a standard second order system. Now if we want to calculate the step response, we have to apply a step input in this system. So RT, that is the input of the system, is our step input, that is unit step UT. So if RT is equal to UT, then RS will be 1 by S. Now put the value of RS in this equation, then we get CS is equal to this. Now if we apply partial fraction, then we get CS is equal to like that. Now let us take for this particular section as a separate constant, that is C dash S is equal to S plus 2 zeta omega n divided by S square plus 2 zeta omega n S plus omega n square. Now zeta, that is damping ratio. Now depending on the damping ratio zeta, systems are classified as of different types. If zeta is equal to 0, then the system is known as undamped system. So for undamped system, zeta is equal to 0. And for critically damped system, zeta will be 1. And for overdamped system, zeta will be greater than 1. And for underdamped system, zeta will be in between 0 and 1. So for underdamped system, zeta will be in between 0 and 1. So first we calculate the step response for a underdamped system. That means the value of zeta is in between 0 and 1. So here, so in this equation, C dash is equal to this equation, just take the denominator part and find the roots. Root mean poles of the system. Find the poles of the system. Now if we take the denominator part of C dash S is equal to 0, then we can get S1 and S2, that means two poles like this, after applying Sridhar Acharya's rule. So S1 and S2, that will be the two poles, and it is minus zeta omega n plus minus omega n root under zeta square minus 1. Now in case of underdamped system, that means zeta is lying between 0 and 1, the roots will be like this. If the value of zeta is in between 0 and 1, then we can write this equation like this, where zeta into omega n will be our alpha and omega n root under of 1 minus zeta square will be our omega d. Now from where this j comes, from this equation to this equation, from where this j comes, here it is zeta square minus 1, and here it is 1 minus zeta square root under. So here we just take a common, that is root under of minus 1 from here. So root under of minus 1 is j. So here we just write j root under of 1 minus zeta square. Okay, so CS will be like this. So CS will be like this. and if we apply partial fraction method here, then after calculation, after lots of calculation, we will find our main step response of a standard second order underdamped system like this. So this is our main equation, which is termed as equation number 1, or which is marked as equation number 1. So you have to remember this equation. This is a very important equation, and which is known as step response of a standard second order underdamped system, where Ct is equal to 1 minus e to the power zeta omega nt divided by 1 minus zeta square sine of omega n root under of 1 minus zeta square into t plus cos inverse zeta. So this is our equation number 1, and if we draw the step response of this standard second order step response signal, then it will be like this. Now this particular equation is for underdamped case. For underdamped case, that means zeta is lying in between 0 and 1. Now if we consider undamped case, that means zeta is lying or zeta is equal to 0, then the step response will be like this, and the graph will be like this, and the step response of a second order underdamped, not this is undamped, second order undamped system is like this. So the step response of a second order undamped system like this. So this is called sustained oscillation. That means there exists an oscillation. And for critically damped, that means zeta is equal to 1, the step response will be like this, and the response will be like that. So this is our step response of a standard second order system for critically damped, standard second order critically damped system. And this is our step response of a standard second order overdamped system. Overdamped system means zeta is greater than 1. That's why it is called overdamped system. So this is our response of a standard second order overdamped system. Now, transient response specifications. We can see the transient response specifications for zeta in between 0 to 1. That means for underdamped system. Now for underdamped system, the step response of a second order system will be like this. Now what is delay time? So before going to our delay time, that 1 is our steady state value. That 1 means our steady state value. That means it reaches our steady state value 100%. That's why it is termed as 1. Now what is delay time? It is the time required for the response to reach half of its final value from 0 instant, and it is denoted by Td. So here Td is our delay time, and it is the time response of the 50%. That means if this is our 100%, this is our 100%, and this is our 50%. So it is the time required of the response to reach 50% of its final value. Suppose if this is our final value 1 and it is our 50%, that is 0.5. that is our delay time. Now what is rise time? It is the time required for the response to rise from 0 to 100% of its final value. So rise time means TR, 0 to 100%. 0 to 100%. The time required to reach from 0 to 100% is termed as rise time, TR. Now one more thing, here it is also 100%, here it is also 100%, here it is also 100%, but the first time when it reaches to 100%, that is called rise time. So at rise time, T is equal to TR, Ct is equal to 1, that means magnitude is equal to 1, magnitude Ct is equal to 1. So after calculation or after applying this value to this particular equation, that is first equation number 1, we can get TR is equal to like this. TR is equal to, that is rise time, is equal to pi minus cos inverse zeta divided by omega n root under of 1 minus zeta square. That is our rise time. So this is very important, which we have to keep in mind for our examples or like problems. Next is peak time. Now this is our peak time, when the maximum value is reached for the first time. When the maximum value is reached for the first time, that is called the peak value. So peak time, it is the time required for the response to reach the peak value for the first time. It is denoted by TP. TP means peak time. So at peak time, the first derivative of the response will be 0. So if we apply the first derivative of equation number 1, then we can get Tp is equal to like this. Tp is equal to pi by omega d, that is pi by omega n root under of 1 minus zeta square. That is our peak time. Now what is the peak overshoot? Peak overshoot, which is represented by MP, is defined as the deviation of the response at peak time from the final value of the response. Now just go to the response. So this is our peak time. Difference between peak value and the steady state value for the first time. So this is our MP, peak time. So this is our peak overshoot. Mathematically, peak overshoot can be written as MP is equal to Ctp minus C infinity. That means the difference between the response at peak time and the response at infinity. So that is our peak overshoot. So percentage of MP can be written as percentage of MP is equal to Ctp minus C infinity divided by, or with respect to C infinity, into 100. So after applying the formulas, we can get MP is equal to e to the power minus pi zeta by 1 minus zeta square root under into 100%. If we want to calculate the peak overshoot in percentage form, then we have to multiply 100 with this equation. So percentage of MP will be 100 into e to the power minus pi zeta divided by 1 minus zeta square. That is our peak overshoot. Now what is settling time? Now what is settling time? It is the time required for the response to reach the steady state value and stay within a specified tolerance limit around the final value. In general, the tolerance bands are 2 to 5%. Just go to the figure. Here, look at this part. Here, oscillation is present here, but we neglect the oscillation, or if we tolerate this type of oscillation, that is 2 to 5% of oscillation, then we can say after reaching Ts the system will be in settle. So this is our settling time. So the settling time is denoted by Ts, and the formula of Ts will be 4 by zeta omega n for 2% tolerance, and for 5% tolerance the settling time will be 3 by zeta into omega n. So all this time, that is peak time, rise time, settling time, all these times are units of all these times are second. Just keep in mind. Now what is steady state error? It is the difference between the actual output to the desired output as the time tends to 0 or as the time tends to infinity. So ESS is equal to limit t tends to infinity ET. So this is our steady state error. Now let us take one example from where we just want to calculate the time response specifications, that is peak time, rise time, etc. So here is so the problem is like that: determine the response specifications for a unit step input to a unity feedback system having Gs is equal to 144 divided by S into S plus 12. So here the open loop transfer function is 144 by S into S plus 12. So if we want to calculate the closed loop transfer function like this with unity feedback, so the closed loop transfer function will be Gs by 1 plus Gs into Hs, where Gs is equal to 144 divided by S into S plus 12 and Hs is 1. So the closed loop transfer function become 144 divided by S square plus 12s plus 144. So this is our closed loop transfer function. Now if we compare this equation, with a standard second order system, that is with this equation omega n square divided by s square plus 2 zeta omega n s plus omega n square. Just compare that equation with this equation. So after comparing this equation, omega n square will be 144. So omega n is 12 and 2 zeta omega n, that is 12. So zeta will be like this after calculation 0.5. So what will be the value of omega d? Omega d is equal to omega n root under of 1 minus zeta square. We already know the equation, already know the formula. Just put the formula, all the formula. So we can find omega d is equal to omega n root under of 1 minus zeta square. Then we can find omega d is equal to 10.39 radian per second. So that is our omega d. That is the damping frequency. Now what will be the value of rise time? Now the formula of rise time is equal to pi minus cos inverse zeta divided by omega n root under of 1 minus zeta square. Just put the value of zeta and omega n in this particular formula, then we can find TR, that is rise time, is equal to 0.2016 seconds. Now what will be the value of TP, peak time? Now peak time is equal to pi by omega t. Just put the value of pi and omega t, then we can find the peak time 0.302 second. Now what will be the value of percentage of overshoot, percentage of MP, that is 100 e to the power minus pi zeta divided by 1 minus zeta square. That is our percentage of MP, percentage of overshoot. Just put the value of zeta and pi, then we can find the percentage of MP 16.3%. And if we want to calculate the settling time with 2% error, then it will be 4 by zeta omega n. So it will be 0.667 second. So these are all the specification, time domain specifications for this system. Now moving to our next topic, that is steady state error and different error constant. Now let us take one closed loop example, closed loop system, where RS is equal to reference input, CS is the controlled output, GS is the forward path transfer function, HS is the feedback path transfer function, and ES is the difference between RS and CS, that is the error signal. So we can write CS by RS is equal to GS by 1 plus GSHS. Now CS is equal to ES into GS. We already know that CS is equal to ES into GS. ES into GS is equal to CS. Just put the value. So we can find like that ES by RS is equal to like that. So ES will be RS by 1 plus GS into HS. So that is our error signal in frequency domain. So if we want to calculate steady state error, then we have to find the error when limit t tends to infinity. So if we apply limit t tends to infinity in S domain, then we have to apply final value theorem, that is limit S tends to infinity SES. So from these to these equation we have to apply the final value theorem. So ESS will be limit S tends to 0 SRS 1 plus GS into HS. So that is our steady state error. ESS is equal to limit S tends to 0 SRS in divided by 1 plus GS into HS. Now if the input is a step signal, if the input is a step signal, then RS will be 1 by S. For step signal, RS is equal to 1 by S. Now for this equation, just put the value of RS is equal to 1 by S. So RS is equal to 1 by S. If we put, then we find 1 by, and after putting limit S tends to 0, then we can find 1 by 1 plus limit S tends to 0 GS into HS. Now limit S tends to 0 GS into HS is termed as KP, that is our displacement or proportional error constant. Now for this particular equation, if RS is equal to unit ramp, then RS will be 1 by S square. Then it will be like that. So then it will be 1 by limit S tends to 0 S GS into HS. That means 1 by KV. So KV is equal to limit S tends to 0 S into GS into HS. So that is our static velocity error constant. So this is our displacement or proportional error constant, and this is our velocity error constant. And if the input is unit parabolic, then Rs will be 1 by s cube, and the value of ESS, that is the steady state error, will be 1 by limit s tends to 0 s square gs into hs, and it is termed as Ka, 1 by Ka. So Ka will be limit s tends to 0 s square gs into hs. That is our static acceleration error constant. So there are three error constant are there. One is displacement or proportional error constant. Next is static velocity error constant. Next is static acceleration error constant. So that is our static acceleration error constant. So just take one example. The open loop transfer function of unity feedback system is given by Gs is equal to 50 by 1 plus 0.1 s into s plus 10. Determine the static error coefficient Kp, Kv and Ka, where Kp is the proportional error constant, Kv is the velocity error constant, and Ka is our acceleration error constant. Just put the formula here. You can find Kp is equal to Kp is equal to 5, and Kv and Ka will be 100. So there is another more example is there. Just see the example. Here one unity feedback is given. Gs is equal to 180 into a unity feedback system has Gs is equal to 180 divided by s into s plus 6, and Rt is equal to 40. Determine steady state error, the value of K, to reduce the error by 6%. Just find the closed loop transfer function, okay, and put the value of ESS, RS, GS and HS here. Then we can find the ESS like this. So steady state error is 13.33%. Now to reduce the error, now the next problem is the value of K to reduce the error by 6%. To reduce the error by 6%, if we reduce the error by 6%, the new error will be 13.33 minus 6, that is 7.33%. So if we apply this new error in this steady state value, then we can easily calculate the value of K, that is K is equal to 327.42. that is our new gain of the system. So if we apply these value, if we apply gain value at this, then the error will be reduced by 6%. So that's all for today's lecture, that is lecture number 12. In our next lecture, we will discuss on stability by pole allocation and Routh-Hurwitz criteria and its application. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you so much. Thank you for